Okay, I am recording Giles' podcast for The Last Frontier intro. Doncast. Clap in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Filmmakers Podcast.
TV Makers Podcast.
I know.
Leave it in, it's fine.
This is a podcast where we talk
Television.
for indie film and
Not indie film.
into high-end TV, documentaries, commercials, and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to
Royally F them up.
Welcome. I'm Giles Alderson. I'm a writer and director.
I'm Dom Lenoir.
And he's just Dom Lenoir. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for listening. I'm still over in Bulgaria. Where are you at the moment, Dom?
I am in London.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm currently editing Sessions, and we're about to dive into post on the next one as well. So it's getting close now on Sessions. Very exciting. Very exciting. But enough of that. Let's talk about, for now anyway, let's talk about this week's episode and the amazing people we have on. Not only do we have on Jon Bokenkamp, he is the showrunner for The Last Front, who's also the showrunner for The Blacklist as well. Yeah. He is joining Jason Clarke, wonderful actor, as well as a duo with Hayley Bennett and Dominic Cooper. What will our listeners glean and learn from this week's episode, Dom Lenoir?
The wonders and horrors of shooting in astonishingly cold, remote, Alaskan-type territory. Well, I think it was British Columbia or somewhere in that ilk.
Oh, just Britain.
Just Britain, yeah. Yeah. The horrors of shooting in Britain.
You know what that's like. Exactly.
Yeah, the amount of hardship and challenges in that is a really interesting one. But also building a complex and exciting thriller.
Yeah.
That's got some fantastic actors in it.
It really has. The Last Frontier is fantastic. It's really, really worth checking out now on Apple Plus. I would say Apple TV Plus. It's a kind of spiritual successor to The Blacklist in some way. It's one of these streaming things that you just got to see. It's got high octane action in it. It's got a cinematic approach to it, and I'd say it has original spark with it too, which we talk about a little bit on the episode. So, Dom, who should we have first?
Should we go for Jason? Because he felt like he was pretty integral to a lot of the show, and I think he had a good amount of involvement in shaping the main character and the background stuff. I think it'd be a nice start point.
All right, let's do that then. Jason Clarke, if you don't know, he's an actor, and he's produced as well along his way. He gained recognition for playing Tommy Caffey on the Showtime TV series Brotherhood, which was amazing, by the way. I love that show. He was also in Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, his recent TV role. He played Jerry West. I also loved this. I like basketball anyway, but I really loved that show. But his selected filmography for you includes Zero Dark 30, The Great Gatsby, White House Down, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Terminator Genesis, Everest, which we talk about a little bit, Mudbound, First Man, Pet Sematary, the recent one, Oppenheimer, and the Kane Mutiny Court Martial. There we go.
There we go.
Right, this is myself and Dom Lenoir chatting to Jason Clarke. We'll see you at the other side of this chat when we'll have the next guest. We'll intro that then. Enjoy. Hey, Jason, lovely to meet you. How are you doing?
Nice to meet you. I'm good, guys. How are you?
Yeah, all right. We're just discussing the backdrop with John, and you've got the same backdrop, which means either you've gone to exactly the same place.
We have. I'm sitting up here at 8,500 feet. It's snowing, but I'm in just a loose jacket and tie. You know,
loose jacket.
I was going to say you're doing very well with the temperatures.
Yeah, I'm like Wim Hof, man. I can bring my body temperature down.
Totally can. Yeah, you got used to it after all the filming in the snow and the cold, and you're like, yeah, I could do this in a shirt.
I can, mate. I can.
Yeah, it's fine.
I can't feel my toes.
Did you have to do any actual? Did you acclimatize by the end of it? I'm guessing you just sort of physically have to, because it is punishing when it's minus 20 and your eyelids are freezing. It's sometimes tough breathing in because it's so freezing in your breath.
No, you can get hurt. You really can. I did a movie called Everest, which was years ago, which I'd had, and I've done a lot of climbing. I climbed Ben Nevis actually in the biggest snowstorm in its history one winter night to get ready for that movie. You have to take care, you really do, or you'll find yourself in a bad way. Not just for that day or the next week. So, but it's such a great part of it. You know what I mean? It takes out the ability to, like Team America act, so to speak. You know what I mean? We're actors,
Fuck yeah.
Act, God damn it.
It's cold here. Fuck yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
So, the hardest part is when you can't think, when it's so cold you can't think, and you really can't. And it's, you got to have the right amount of gear on because you don't want to be starting an action sequence with too many heat warmers on in the middle of it. You're burning up. And we had some long shooting sequences, and in that kind of temperature, you just got to be focused and ready to get it in one or two so you can move on. So your day can get pretty ugly if you don't.
Yes. Yeah, it can. How do you deal with those gaps in between then? Like you say, if you're doing long takes and you're doing long sequences, great.
Yeah.
But it's those moments in between where they're setting up the shot, they're going around the other side to get the reverse.
Clifton Collins, who's in it, sent me a picture in between setups where there was a little tent for us to sleep. And I'm in the chair and all my gear like out to it for 15 or 20 minutes. And he took all these photos and putting things on top of me, making me and he just sent them to me. Yeah.
Right.
You've really got to pace yourself, in a monster day, if you're outdoors. You can't be just because it's, when it hits you, you got a headache from hell, or you got wind chill, or your lips are a mess, or your face is a mess, or you just got no energy, and so you learn to pace yourself essentially. And, all my climbing years and that in Everest and that has, really helped out with that.
Mm. I was walking. I was doing Snowdon yesterday, and the conditions weren't great.
No,
and we're sort of down near the bottom, and it's October now, and a friend was like, "Oh, should we go and swim in the lake?" I'm like, "Well, I can go in the lake, but then I'm going to be out for the next 3 days with a cold." It's like there's a trade off of really pushing yourself when you've got to think.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's really, really tough in this kind of environment.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit with John earlier about you had a lot of great ideas in terms of, maybe the character might say this like this, or, your kind of take on things. Do you have any sort of, when you originally got the script and you kind of saw the character, a great sort of leading man, what were your sort of initial things? Okay, this is really great.
Yeah.
This I might like to bring from my own sort of ideas.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great, because that's a big part of the way the whole business is going now in shooting. You're often not getting the scripts, although in this case, we did get the scripts. We shot this in the most insane out of order that I've ever partaken in because of weather. You just have to, and so you realize it. But I got to say, the very first thing when I read the script was, when I read the lot of them, was thank God it makes sense. There's an inbuilt thing in an actor where you go, okay, it's like an exam. Great. That scene's going to be a nightmare. Don't know how I'm going to get there. But what, you know what I mean? So you kind of, and I'd gotten through it, and I didn't have any of those. And I really, really loved the fact the narrative was the river. It was a narrative-based thing, and within there is character, because you go, look, let me take care of the character. I'm an actor. I'll bring a lot to it. But the narrative made sense. Too many things, the narrative don't make sense, or doesn't make sense, actually. So it's like I remember that was a big thing of cool. And then I go, okay, this is a bit overwritten. This can be stripped back. And then in weather and climate like that, you've been there. You've got to be able to adapt. You might get there and it's like the weather's there, the wind's that. They can't get up the crane they wanted to use, or the thing is, and you've got to be able to adapt within what is required. You also then got to accept with camera, they'll be able to make it work with what's there. But just enough of those things, and once again, it comes from, I think, when you're in the mountains and in the wild, you got to take care of your gear. You got to take care of yourself. There's a practicality that comes with it, and I really, really enjoyed that part of, and the actual, the physicality of mentally of doing those things really helped me, just find my Frank.
I can imagine in The Last Frontier, it really was like that. It's kind of changing on the day.
Oh man, chasing snow for, a long time. There's a lot of things that the production as a whole has got to adapt. You've got to have a reality to what's going on. and, and a great team around you to say, well, this can be done, that can be done, that can't be done. So we need to do something about that. And, that becomes part of what it is.
Yeah. How do you, when you're preparing for something like that, and let's not talk about necessarily this character or this film, but let's say it's an emotional scene in The Last Frontier, but it's not out in the wilds, it's maybe in a bar, separate from it. How do you get into the mindset for that? Because like you said there before about having to take your, if it's a full day of shooting, I've got to plan my moments and plan the gaps. How do you prepare for that before the day?
I like to do my work 2 weeks in advance, with lines and thoughts, and so there's someone I work with that. And then, that doesn't matter whether it's, Chris Nolan, in a certain situation, there's pressure from the moment, the time frame maybe, or the director themselves, or your own. A lot of it's your own thing of wanting to, give your best. And I've often found it's like, on a camera up close, it is what it is when it comes out, and you've either done the work and you haven't, and then it's your ability to let go, and I, it's because I just did the Catherine Bigelow movie as well. In really good jobs where you're sinking into it in something like The Last Frontier, you're in it for so long. It's a matter of just trusting yourself and letting your instincts go, and you end up hopefully getting to a point where you behave in front of a camera. It's behavioral rather than I'm Team America acting. Yeah. And on this show, there's a lot of things that help that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The best goddamn actor we've ever come across. And that's what, all these things add up to it, knowing that narrative is great, knowing you've got these moments, knowing you've got Haley and Dom opposite you and Simone to work with who would have a long relationship. It becomes quite easy, and the only thing getting in the way of yourself is yourself, really, if you've done the work,
Do you have a last sort of tip that we can take away in terms of, maybe working on a big production where you're the lead and it's an Apple show, like how you sort of, how you take on that and,
No, it's good. I was talking, actors talk. My way of doing it is to stay open. I had another guy who's just did a job where he was number one on this big thing. It was just, and my thing is to take care of the others. Take care of the guest actors that come in because they don't have the 4 months or the camera, the camera's not going to shoot them or stay on, make sure they've got their takes. Don't hog it all, and that helps you stay open to what is needed to require to keep this, giant piece moving, but also helps you with your character, and it helps you with just in listening in a scene, it's not about me or you or what, it's about what we create, and it keeps you open rather than insular. And I think that's the best advice. And when if you are the one that's, it's up to you to keep the job going, the day going as well, not just the AD, not just the directors, not just the writers. You gotta, and, for me, for a guy like Frank, who's taking care of his town and his wife and his family and, and then his country or his state, on all different levels, that really helped me just of like, I need to take care of everybody in this production,
Oh, I love that. I love that you're saying that when you're number one, you look after everyone else. It's so important. And
it's just, it's the biggest thing I've said to literally 2 people who've got big jobs at the moment. And they ask, they say, what do you do? It's just like, if you take care of everyone else, you'll stay out there and you'll listen, more importantly. And that's going to look great on camera, man.
Yeah.
And
they'll support you.
And they will too, because often, I've been there myself. It's the others that are, setting up the room so you do the heavy lifting,
Yes, exactly.
And not enough credit is given to those people, because they've got the tough stuff to do. They've got to come in the 2 days. I just did a film at Warner Brothers where a guy came in and he had all this dialogue. Well, me and this other dude are sitting there, bigger parts, getting paid more. And he's doing the heavy lifting, man. And he just, but great experienced actors just throw it down.
Yeah.
And then you got to help them get over the confidence so they feel like they know the set, they know the camera. And we had some great actors that came in, that John knew, and that, there's a couple of really great actors down the road you'll see that really just do some complicated stuff and make it very easy. Your Clifton Collins is, great actor.
Clifton Collins is just so good.
He is,
got to let
man.
you go. Jason,
great actor.
Thank you so much. Listen, really well done here. You're fantastic in this, as you are in everything we've seen you in. You're a brilliant actor. So
Thank you, boys.
Yeah, and fuck yeah, Team America.
Team America. The Last Frontier, get it out there. It's. I don't know how much you guys have seen, but I loved it. I watched it all.
Yeah. It's really, really gripping. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
love what you do with all the dialogue and your character and all the little nuances. So.
Oh, good, man. Thank you very much, fellas.
Okay.
That was Jason Clarke. What a guy he is. How much fun.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
Good lad. Good lad.
He's a good lad. I bet he'd be good on set. And one of those people just gets stuck in, mucks in, enjoys the process.
Good ideas.
Yep. Intelligent.
Yeah.
I love that. Talking of intelligence, I think we should have the showrunner next. What do you think, Dom?
I think that makes sense. Yes, definitely.
Yes. So, Jon Bokenkamp is the creator of The Last Frontier. He's an American writer. He's a producer. He's actually directed as well. He's best known for creating and running highly successful network television thrillers. Dom, what did we talk about with Jon Bokenkamp?
Talked about shaping the series and how it ended up in that location. What were the benefits of, being able to kind of make things like two-handers and some of the simple set pieces really exciting and dynamic because of the landscape, the temperature, the snow, some of the unusual locations they chose, such as using the CIA base camp as an abandoned kind of factory type setting. There was lots of things about how to work in all the details into making it really interesting, and also how he worked with some of the actors with their ideas and sort of figuring out the beats of what a character might and might not do based on the actor influences.
He's quite a phenomenon, really. He wrote and directed Preston Talk in 2000, which is also known as Bad Seed. And then his next film as a screenwriter was Perfect Stranger, which starred Halle Berry and Bruce Willis. After that, he wrote Taking Lives, which was starred Angelina Jolie. Then The Call, about 10 years ago, which he wrote starring Halle Berry. And then he was a creator and exec producer of The Blacklist, which was a short-lived. He did a spin-off as well called Blacklist Redemption. But he also, Blacklist, the main series, is ran for 10 years. It's a blend of procedural, if you've not seen it, procedural and serialized thriller. He describes it as having a core mystery that is gradually revealed. And now he has brought us The Last Frontier, which is on Apple TV, as I've said. He co-created it, he's exec produced it, and he's written it with Richard Di Ovidio. So let's dive in, shall we, with this excellent man. I hope you enjoy myself and Dom's chat with Jon Bokenkamp.
Hey guys, I'm Jon. Nice to meet you.
Hey Jon, real pleasure to meet you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing well.
Well, I like your snowy background.
I know. I feel like I should have worn like a parka or something,
Yeah, you
psychologically it'll keep me cool under the lights, I think,
Yeah, it does. I'm in Bulgaria at the moment and it's snowing here. So it kind of is that backdrop right now behind
It really is? Oh, wow.
Yeah, through that window. But yes.
Oh, I'm very romantic about the snow. So good for you. I love that you've got that going on.
Isn't it? Except when you're in it for too long, which you might have been, and we can get to that.
I don't know if I can be in it too long. I love it. I'm always running hot, so I'm a snow guy. Yeah.
Oh, good. Dom?
It does something incredible with light, doesn't it? I was in the sort of Northern Lights hunting last yeyear, and just the way that it reflects light makes everything so magical.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? What was it like being there? I mean, obviously, it looks incredible. It's got such a imagination building sort of atmosphere. But what was it like actually being on the ground in that kind of stunning landscape?
It was great. I honestly I'm not by any means an outdoorsman, but I do love being outdoors, and I love that sort of winter environment. We shot up in Montreal and just outside of Montreal, outside of Quebec City and Alberta. So we were really in some of these spots, we were in places where they would snowmobile in the crew, and everyone's sort of dragging sleds full of microphones and equipment. And I'd never seen anything like it. It was fantastic. So, and it really was very beautiful. It was work. And so it was difficult at times, but it was in a beautiful environment, a little chilly at times. I missed a couple of the coldest nights. I think the number was 30 below is where the camera, where like the insurance people say you have to go home. But I know we hit 20 below one night. So it was.
I love the fact, Jon, that you mentioned camera there, not crew. You're like, because the camera can't take it. But
exactly.
Crew,
that's all I care about. If the crew is suffering, okay. But if the cameraman can still get the footage, it was. there were some different parameters of what was considered normal and acceptable as far as the environment. But we embraced it, and the cast was fantastic about it. And they really were. I remember talking to Sam Hargrave, our director, very early on when we first started talking. And I asked him, in Extraction, he's got this very sweaty, sort of muscly, gritty environment. And I was like, how do you get that? How do you bring that to life? He goes, well, you go there. You go to a sweaty place like that. And so in this, he comes from stunts. He doesn't want a bunch of VFX and stuff sort of, supplementing what he's doing. He wants to do it tangibly and physically. And so we did that as much as we could. Yeah.
I mean,
I love that.
I'm guessing it does have an effect on the, the cast and the crew, because you're obviously, beyond all of the story and the character considerations, you are literally trying to survive. I mean, your eyelids can freeze in that kind of temperature. Nothing is easy. And then obviously you've got the danger of trying to catch someone that's highly dangerous. You've got, tensions must be very high anyway, like across the board. So I'm sure it adds a level of sort of tension and gravitas to everything, like on top of the usual kind of shooting.
Yeah, it really does. And the actors could speak better to this, but I know there were days where we're out. I can imagine one day that I'm remembering with Jason and Simone, Frank and Sarah, where they were sitting outside and talking on the back of a pickup bed. They were just sitting there. And it was so bitterly cold that, on the really cold days, it doesn't look like it does, it's just clear skies, it's blue, and it's those crisp. That's where it's so bitterly cold. But you can feel it in the performance. You can feel, I'm not an actor. I guess you could act cold, but when it is bitter out, it does inform the way you move, the way you interact with the environment around you. So yeah, it definitely was something that we had no choice, but we embraced.
You have to embrace it because, like say, the actors as well, sometimes you can't actually speak because it's so cold.
Exactly.
I can't get any words out, but like you say, you don't have to act that. You just do it, and you go, well, let's go again. Let's move the mouth around. Let's see if we can get that again.
Warm up a little bit.
Warm up a little bit. And also, the other issue is footprints in the snow. Mm-hmm. I know when we did a film in the snow, or bits in the snow, the amount of times we had issues with if a crew member walked down that area, or the actors, you've done a take. Well, now you've got to cover it all back up again. Did you have, as far as you know, was there a lot of issues like that in terms of snow?
There were, and it went both ways. So we shot over, 6 or 7 month period. So we went from bitter cold to, I think our last day was in August. And so we were both out in a truly brittle environment and also manufacturing one. So there are times where it's like, stay out of the snow. You're tracking in mud. We need, we had a whole greens crew that's out sort of raking stuff. And they had little, my grandma had like a pie sifter, you put powdered sugar on top of a pie or cookies. They're out there on the railings, dropping snow over stuff. But then by the time we get to August, they're making snow, and it's like, stay off of the snow. It's going to melt. You're messing up the shot. So yes, there very much was, the environment was a constant conversation, because it really is. I think you hear a lot of people say, "Well, the location is a character in the story." I really hope the audiences feel like we've done that in a very real way. I do think the atmosphere of Alaska, of Fairbanks, of the people, and this location really are a critical part of the story, and so it was important to treat it right.
So what was the process in terms of finding these specific locations to shoot? And when you're sort of looking at it from a story perspective, because I'm sure all these challenges and logistics were in the back of minds, like, okay, what can we actually do? What works for the aesthetic? What's going to be challenging? What's going to bring the most, the most of the story to life?
Yeah.
So how did that process work in terms of actually figuring out where it was going to finally be done?
We had a great production designer, David Sandifer, who, when we very first spoke, we both had a long conversation, not about the story or the characters or the look, but our time that we both had spent in Alaska separately, but we had both been there. And I could tell very early on, he was very romantic about the place. And it was important to him. And so David, I think, really created environments, specifically like the cabin where Luke and Kira go in the pilot and spend some time. That cabin, the bar, the Mecca bar, a lot of these are practical locations that we drove quite a ways to get to that were, lived in and very sort of analog and had the sort of, I guess, grit and texture that they felt, again, lived in. And so, I hand that to the, hats off to David and his whole team that found really, really great locations to shoot in, and then also manufactured some spaces where we would be out on, for example, a park, that we could kind of own and drive around. Not a park like a city park with, benches, but a preserve, and be in an environment where we could sort of have one little base camp and go out and create a lot of different environments. There's a lake, so we can build sort of this indigenous community, or there's a grove of trees where we can create a place that feels like you're in the middle of nowhere. So it was a real math problem in figuring out how to get all the pieces. But I think they did a great job.
I think you did a great job too. When you were first sort of thinking about this idea, and maybe when you were on the recce's, what you just described then, was that happening as well, John? Were you sort of going, actually, if we shot here, we could actually build something over here so we're close by? Were you thinking that way when you first were thinking about the idea, or were you just sort of finding the idea as you went along in terms of the space?
That's fine. It's a little bit of both. It's on one hand, I come from network TV. And it's a very tight schedule, and you're shooting 22 episodes a season, and you got to move fast, and let's reuse this set, let's repaint, let's take the room we're in, we'll repaint it, and we'll call it the Oval Office, and so you're always trying to be creative about that. At the same time, this is Apple TV Plus, and I was told to, we're going to go make a big show, and I wanted to spend all their money. So I was like, forget the way we used to do it. Let's go have fun. And we did that.
How many helicopters can we get?
Yeah, exactly. Let's force them to say no, and then we can always scale it back. So I really do think that, in all sincerity, I didn't feel a lot of constraints in terms of how are we gonna do this? It really, from the beginning, was, let's tell the best story that we can. Let's have it be as wild as we can. And then, of course, as we go along, you find places where you have to nip and tuck and sort of adjust to make it practical and to make it feasible. But so yeah, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, I guess.
So just going into the sort of the budget side, because you've got to, you've still got to work to a budget and work out where X money goes and where Y money goes. Cast are obviously like a big sort of factor in that. You've got the big set pieces with the planes and the intro, which are very, very important to sort of get people involved and invested. But what was the thoughts in terms of like how to balance that and where to really like prioritize the money? I mean, where did you start to think, okay, this feels like the sort of ballpark we want to aim for. These are the kind of actors, or I really want to have this on this episode, and funnel some money into that.
That's an interesting question. I really think that our first and third episode have some set pieces in them that are sort of signature set pieces that you probably see pieces of in the trailer, and the plane crash. There's a tundra buggy sequence in episode 3 that were very big, and I think a lot of resources went to those to begin with. But very quickly, you're working with a lot of other directors who are doing other episodes. And everyone wants theirs to look as good and powerful and sort of muscular as it can. And so that is part of the game, I think, is how do you allocate resources? I think what we did is almost within episodes is where can we cheat and where can we sort of, if we have a scene of two people sitting in a room talking, okay, where are we going to, let's use those, whatever we saved in those moments, let's put it on the screen in other places. And that could be night shoots, it could be airplane, helicopter work, and so I think this wasn't necessarily something I led the charge on. This is more the more physical production side of things. Did work very hard to sort of keep that look and that feel up, and I think it does. I think that we did a good job with that of having a consistent sort of feel throughout the episodes.
I was thinking just on a couple of episodes, there's some really good moments where, you've got Jason and Haley and they're plonked next to some really interesting sort of building. It's covered by snow and woods, and it's a two-hander that could have been, quite simple if it had been inside a house somewhere. Or you park up an emergency vehicle and you get a really nice backdrop behind and a couple of extras, and suddenly you've got like something that feels very big. So I guess that's the sort of territory.
Yeah, I think that's right. But that's exactly right. That's one of those moments where, okay, here's a scene with two people talking. we're out in this beautiful country, or there's our mobile command unit was this really funky sort of dilapidated building. We're like, let's use that. Let's in any place we can sort of give a big scope to the show and lean into that. So I'm glad you bring that up. The production value is something I'm very proud of. I think the team did a great job.
Yeah, the production values are massive on The Last Frontier. It really is fantastic. You should be very proud of what you've done and the story, which I'd love to get into a little bit with you, and the idea and where your story ideas come from and how you create them. Obviously, you've done The Blacklist for quite a good few years. Was The Last Frontier something you've been developing for a long time? Was it something that you had in the back of your mind before that? Where for you does story come from generally? But when you come up with an idea, how do you then go, right, how am I going to position this? What am I thinking about? Especially for our writers out there and people who want to be showrunners, how they actually go about creating something like this.
Yeah. Well, the idea, this idea, it's kind of crazy when I think about it, started, my friend Rich DeVideo and I were talking about this back in 2006. Okay,
wow.
So this is, there was no iPhone in 2006. I think that's maybe when it came out, right? So, and at that time, the idea was, well, what would happen if a plane full of inmates crashed in New York City and they shut down the bridges and the tunnels and said, okay, we have 3 days to go find these people. I'm from Nebraska. I'm from the middle of nowhere. And I like, again, the sort of the idea that the environment could become a problem, in a character. And so over the years, as we had talked about it, and we haven't been working on the scripts for 19 years, but we, it was sort of parked and we came back to
18 and a half.
19 and a half, yes, exactly. That's right.
By the way, speaking of 18 and a half, it's fantastic. I know you got thanks on that, but we've had the director on the podcast, and 18 and a half is a fantastic movie. Anyway.
Is that Dan Mervis you're talking about?
Dan Mervis, yeah, he's a great guy. We love Dan.
Fellow Nebraskan. How about that? Yeah.
There you go. How about that? So that was a good segue. Perfect.
That's a deep dive. I like that. No, so we did... So the story evolved, obviously, but in terms of what to me, I tend to sort of start with a hook or a big idea or something that's sort of I always want to try to grab people from the very beginning and be respectful of their time. I maybe have a short attention span. So to me, what's the hook of the show, the concept, getting into it? But I think it very, if anything I learned on Blacklist, is that really at the end of the day, we can do all the set pieces and plot twists we want. It's really the characters that you're there for. And at the end of the day, that's probably all you're going to really remember are the characters and those relationships. And so while this did start with a sort of big hook idea, once I sat down with other writers and we all started sort of, molding what it would be and where the show would go, it really becomes character driven and sort of that's what pushes things forward. So, I don't know. I hope I'm answering your question. That's
yeah. Well, I suppose on that, let's talk about for you then. What you talk about the characters there. What do you do as a writer or ideas situation at the beginning? Do you write down concepts? Do you write down kind of story arcs and beats? How does that work for you?
Well, I'm constantly on my phone writing an email to myself, whether it's a line somebody says that's weird or that I like, or something that my wife and I'll be out and we'll be talking. There's sort of a moment that I want to hold on to or remember. So there's that sort of idea bucket, but those are more random sort of thoughts that might plug in later. In terms of the process with the group, it really is just what surprises me, what oftentimes the things that are said as a joke, end up being like, wow, great, let's do that. Let's try to make that work and let's ground it. And I think often I'm drawn toward, and I think this is applicable in this show, certainly, toward things that feel rather absurd, but that you try to ground and make real, right? Yes. Is it unlikely that a plane of inmates would survive this crash in the tundra? Yeah. But what if they did, right? And what would it do to this community? And what would happen to this character, Frank? What resources does he have? When you start trying to take something like that and really try to ground it, that to me is where the fun is, when are you surprising yourself? What seems sort of absurd and how real can you make that? And the intersection of those two, I think, can be an interesting place.
And And what do we sort of, in terms of those conversations going into the characters, once they'd been cast, what was their maybe input that's, overarching sort of themes that each of their characters have maybe changed and influenced the script from before?
I think everyone, and again, this is taking me time to figure out how to do this, but it really is it's a collaboration, right? As much as I want to think that the script is what ultimately matters, it's the performances, the direction, the design, the production design, the lighting, all of those things really are contributing factors, right? And the actors, absolutely. I think with all of the cast, Jason, Haley, Dom, they ultimately are the ones who these words have to fit in their mouths, right? And so we'll go through, and I'm happy to rework scenes and work with them and feel, Jason many times had stuff that he thought, this, I get where you're going on the page, but this guy, I think he would, if you cast somebody differently, maybe it would, I'm sure they would have an opinion about it too, but they really have to live in it. And so again, that's a back and a forth and a dance that I've come to sort of really like, that I feel more secure about now, is being able to say, okay, I thought about this for a while. I know where I want to go with it, but push back on it. Tell me why you don't agree, and let's find a common ground. And inevitably, it's better, right? Inevitably, when we're talking about it and beating up the material and trying to punch holes in it and trying to make it better. When I was much younger, I was not good at that at all. I thought, I've thought this through. I know what I want to say. And I've learned over time that you really have to listen and trust the people that you're working with. And that really is where it gets fun,
Mm-hmm. Collaboration is key in what you're saying there. And it's true. And that does get fun rather than holding on to something too much. It sounds that's wonderful for you.
Yeah.
In terms of show running then, because a lot of our writers out there.
Yeah, just
last question then. For showrunners out there, or people who have devised TV series, it's something that you learnt or something that didn't work for you when you're starting out. You kind of mentioned it there, but for people who have got a project and suddenly they get to become a showrunner for the first time, what kind of things that you'd say, maybe don't do this, or something that did work would be really good to wrap this up?
I'll tell you this. I feel like I came from features, right? And so I started as a feature writer, and in features, the writer is sort of at the bottom of the pile, right? And I've probably been fired from almost every job I've had and replaced or brought back. And so the writer is sort of second, comes second in features. And in TV, I learned to shake that, I think. I think the idea is that any advice such that I have any would be to trust your gut and to really listen to yourself. As a writer or a showrunner, you're not there to be a typist. You're not there to necessarily go through all the notes and say, yes, okay, I'm going to cross this one off. I'm going to cross it. I did all the notes. I hope they'll be happy. You really have to listen to your gut, and if you disagree with something, it's your job to say, no, we're not going to do that. It's different in network TV because it moves so quickly that oftentimes a note would come in or somebody would want to change something. You go, sorry, you guys don't like it. We shot that yesterday, so that we're already moving on. In this, again, it's a collaboration. So I think it's a balance to both listen and listen to yourself. But I do think, it's important because I think any writer, the one thing they have that nobody else has is their voice, and their take on the world and their perspective. And that, I think, is the most important thing of all, is to not lose that and not try to start appeasing everyone else, but to really listen to your voice and make it your own.
Great. That's a lovely way to end things. Thank you very much, Jon.
Hey guys, thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking.
Thanks, Jon. Best of luck with it and congratulations.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks, Jon.
Bye. Enjoy the snow.
No, thank you.
Okay.
What a highly entertaining man Jon is.
Yes.
So insightful, so knowledgeable about what he does. I really feel that he has a really strong reins on, what he does, how he controls the set in a good way. And it came across that he totally knows what he's doing and seemed like a really decent guy.
Yeah, and we were having a very nice time.
Yay! Had a nice time. That's in reference to it being
Giles had no idea what I was talking about there for a moment.
I didn't. I don't think the audience did either. But we've gone with it. It's no joke, mate.
We have.
Chucking in things like that. Oh, I know. Sorry.
Should we finish off with our extremely fun, slightly chaotic interview with Hayley Bennett and Dominic Cooper.
Let's do it. By the way, just check out the name that Dominic calls our Dom at the very start. In case you miss it, do listen out. It's really early on and it's quite enjoyable.
I'm Dom Lenoir, Filmmakers Podcast.
Dom Memoir.
Hello.
Is that your name? Is your name Dom Memoir?
Fellow Dominic.
Yeah, but did you say you're called Dom Memoir, which I love? What a surname you've given yourself.
Great character.
Dom Memoir.
Maybe I've got a memoir in my name.
Is it Lenoir? I was going to change my name because I always wanted to be an 80s musician. I like Le Bon. I wanted to be Lenoir, Dominic Lenoir. What do you think of that?
That's good.
I mean, that's good. Then we might get confused a bit more regularly. And then
What is your surname? So what is your surname?
So it's Lenoir. So
Lenoir. Even better.
Hello,
It's
Dom
French.
Lenoir.
Oh, is it now?
French for the black,
Oh,
apparently.
Lenoir, apparently. And when did you give yourself that name? And why not a triple barrel just to go?
I agree.
It's my given name, I'm afraid.
I don't
It's
believe
not-
you,
it's
and
not
I'm
quite
going to
as-
research it, and I don't believe you.
But
But I might steal it because my grandfather was a Len, but Lenoir
Was he? Okay.
gives it a
Maybe he's
real,
a distant Dominic relative.
which is a Leonard, isn't
Yeah.
it? So you're Leonard War. I'll call you Leonard from now on. I feel.
Okay, we'll go with that.
I think you should, Dominic. Hey, Hayley.
Hello.
Hello.
Hayley.
Welcome to the conversation.
Have you got
Thank
any
you.
fun nicknames to join?
I spelled your name wrong.
Goober. I don't
Goober.
know, Goober.
Is that
Fred.
Goober?
Actually, my dad called me Fred.
Okay.
Because
Wanted you to
Bennett
avoid?
isn't your...
And
Bennett isn't
actually,
your
this is a
original.
horrible story, but my dad's name's Ron, and he wanted to call me Rhonda. So
Ooh,
in
Okay.
another,
lucky escape.
yeah.
I know.
Rhonda
Rhonda.
Bennett. Okay, it's got
Rhonda's
No,
dad.
it would have
Okay.
been Rhonda Keeling. That was another
wow.
life. I don't think I would have had to change.
And also, a lot of parts of England you'd be called Wanda.
Wanda.
No, one like
Wanda.
Wanda. Wanda.
WandaVision. My
Wait.
my mum wanted to call me Icarus.
Oh, I
Which would have
love
been
that
it.
name, but you would have
Great
melted.
name.
You would have
I
melted
would've.
immediately.
I would have.
Melody
just been
People's Hearts,
icky.
maybe.
No, can I do my dad's name story? Well,
Yes.
That's up to them. This is their time.
Dad changed his name
love
from
it.
from John to Brian. I mean, imagination minimal.
There we go.
Mhm.
From
There
I
we
didn't
go.
know how to react.
Okay,
From John to Brian.
John to Brian.
I mean,
Uh,
it could have had anything.
the
You
imagination.
could have had
It could've.
anything. Go.
Dominic, you could have had anything.
Could have had anything.
So we
No,
should.
he could have.
as-
It was
as
his. It
Hayley-
wasn't
as
me.
Hayley
I'm not
says-
John. He was called.
No.
He was called John, and he went, "I'm going to change my name, Mum and Dad. What shall I have? Brian."
Okay.
Brian. That's what you go with. That's what. Well, it's better than Giles, I suppose. Giles is interesting.
No, Giles is
but
nice. Good DJ.
we could
He's
talk
desperate
names.
to ask us a
Yeah.
question.
Okay, go. We'll start now. We're starting now.
We love
We
both
know.
of your characters. Hayley, I love your quiet intensity and how much your character always seems to be thinking and plotting and coming up with the best solution. Dominic, your character is wonderfully, I don't know, alive and spontaneous and unpredictable, I think is a good way. What attracted you both to joining this epic freezing cold adventure?
We've gone very serious, so go.
We
for
have
it.
to. We have to now.
Yeah,
It's a change.
You go serious.
please feel.
It's after Leonard's question. Leonard's
free-
striking question.
Feel free to make this up.
We will. Don't worry. We will.
I
That's
expect
what
it now.
That's what we're paid for.
Hayley's like this. She's all day going, how many of these have we got?
No, I mean, it was just it's a fantastic character that, these are all fantastic characters. I was excited about the genre. I was very excited to, there's some groundbreaking action in this that was led by Sam Hargrave. And what I love about it is that the action feels very visceral. What Sam did so well in Extraction, he really brought into this. But then there's also another layer of humanity going on, and like the dynamics between all of the characters are very interesting, from Sydney to Frank, and Sydney kind of arrives on the scene in Alaska, a fish out of water, and very reserved and kind of buttoned up. And as the series goes on, she becomes a lot more vulnerable as kind of the truth of what's happening is exposed. But they all have, there's very high stakes. And that was exciting for me as an actor. It's great to inhabit roles that have incredibly high stakes, and this was a feast.
Yes. Yeah, you've done it a lot,
feast
Hayley.
and a
It's
very good
incredible.
ice cream. A very good ice cream.
Cheeseburger.
Did you do that with the snow, Dominic? Did you get a little cone and put the snow on the top and just
That's not a feast. That's not a feast.
It's a really nice recipe.
Do you remember a feast? You don't remember a feast ice cream, do you?
Yeah, I love a feast. Yeah,
You have. Hold on, I'm going to rein this in. Do you have more questions for Dom?
No, I'm going to answer the question quickly. The question,
Dom, you ask the question.
This particular script was quite hard to roll for me to get because it wasn't just. It was. I heard about the script. Everyone was talking about the script because there weren't many great scripts around, and I happened to be in LA at the time, and I went into Apple for a general meeting, and I went, what about this? Knowing full well that I knew who they were, where the casting was going, possibilities of casting, but then I got hold of it. And I read this pilot, and it's one of the best pilots I've ever read. And I think that this is why it's going to be. It's so entertaining, and you can't imagine. You haven't got a better beginning to a show with those characters in that vein. I mean, you just want to know. I want to do a spin-off, even just of those more of the characters, just each of those individual lives that unfold. You could do that. You could do so many different. You read that script, and you're like, I need to be part of this, and I'm so fortunate that I managed to be involved in it. The best stunt team I've ever worked, one of the best stunt teams I've ever worked with. He knows what and he directed it. Although I must say, I promise you this: I thought Sam was a background artist. He had that long beard. I thought he was one of the guys. Yeah, because he had this long hair. I don't know why. I just thought, but I was very polite to him and very nice. And then we went into a room with Jason to do a rehearsal, and he had the handbook on how to direct actors. And which was great because which I
like you're gonna burn
but
this.
I love because he did really care about it, and he really was a great director. And but on top of that, he was amazing at stunts and visual the whole action part of the project.
On that, Dominic and Hayley, just quick, in terms of what you look for when someone does approach you with a project like this, director, writer, whatever it is, what is it that shines for you? Like you said there, it's someone with a vision or someone who comes in and says, I want this.
For me, it's the ability to, I always am trying to get a sense of like the imagination of the director. And, I think Jon Bokenkamp as the showrunner has imagination in spades. And then also the ability to collaborate is very important to me. And also the actors that, are going to be a part of it and their imagination. I think, Dominic has one of the best imaginations of any actor that I've worked with, and is also incredibly spontaneous and alive.
Call me Lenoir.
That's always Lenoir. That's always a quality that qualities that I really admire is collaboration.
And same to you with that. Same, not many actors or people I work with nowadays lie on the floor and go, I want to do the scene lying down, rolling around on the floor, which Hayley did, and it works so well. You're magnetic in this, and when I watch it, I really like. You never really know what the performances are going to be like until you see it. And I've got to say, you're absolutely mesmerizing in it, and it's a really
nobody
complex
knows what
part.
I'm doing on the day.
No, they think she's insane on the day. Now they think, and they're like, she's got to stop doing that. But I was like, no, we must all carry on being as bizarre and odd as possible.
We have to turn everything on its head.
But just on top of that, Jon knew what he was doing to such a fine point, and that is such a safe space to be in. It allows you to do whatever because he knows this world so well, and you question stuff and you challenge stuff, and I love it when your challenge is confronted and you're explained why your challenge is incorrect. And then you're in an artistic environment because it's then a relationship you got, and you understand why you shouldn't do that or why your character should not be doing that there and then. And then you're in safe hands. Yeah. And that is often not the case.
I love that dialogue between, asking questions, thinking about things, discussing. I mean, that's really where the sort of the great stuff comes from.
Absolutely. And allowing that they always, and this is same to Apple as well, credit to them to not interfere with something that they, you could have producers, this is a lot of money, this is a big project. You could easily have people saying, no, do it like this, never happens. And because they trusted our showrunner and our team. And rightly so, because it's absolutely brilliant what they've got.
It is. And you two are brilliant in it. And we do have to wrap up. They keep telling us to wrap up.
Do you like the hat I made for rap? I made that.
Wow.
Hand sewed it.
That's a lovely hat.
It's not a piece, though, which is what I'm going to go have now.
That is our time. We have
That's
to
the time. You see that? We've got to go. Dominic, Hayley, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, well, yes. That was fun.
That was pretty shenanigan-y.
As you can imagine, we didn't get many questions in there. So what have you got to say for yourself, Leonard?
I mean, I think it could be a new rebrand.
I think so.
Leonard
Lenoir.
That was pretty... Leonard, Lenny Leonard.
Lenny Leonard.
Lenoir. It was a lot of fun. We usually. I mean, we are a pretty serious publication.
Well, I don't know about that.
We can be. But that was pretty fun and silly.
Yeah, it was fun and silly.
Yeah, sometimes you need a bit of banter,
Yeah, sometimes you keep it light. Well, what's he going to talk about? Did you enjoy yourself? Yeah, it was great. Cool. Yeah, Any fun stories? No. It was cold as hell. I was freezing my tits off. No, it's just we just have fun. Talk about Leonard and fun other stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
What more do you want from the Filmmakers Podcast? I hope you have enjoyed this episode. And if you, dear listener, are lucky enough to rise up and do well, 'tis your duty too.
Send the frozen elevator into the dark depths of the icy Alaskan pools. Back down.
And help all those below you, because you need to now pull the elevator back up.
Because they're already frozen,
Yeah, good luck with that. We will see you next Tuesday and onwards, because we have some amazing guests coming up. Dominic, fill us in. Fill us in. Oh, it's ridiculous who Dom's been sat down with today. It's mad.
It's pretty...
It's brutal. I'm gutted, actually, because I'm in Bulgaria and Dom isn't. He's in London and he's been going to some beautiful hotels, been sitting down on beautiful chairs with our beautiful podcast mics. Well, they're not beautiful, but they just sometimes work. And you've been sat chatting too. Can't keep the excitement in.
Noah Baumbach.
Noah Baumbach. This is a Baumbach story.
Yeah, I know. No, but Baumbach and Baumbach was my pitch for that one. So he's talking about his new George Clooney, Adam Sandler, Laura Dern vehicle, J. Kelly, which is a great award season contender.
Nice.
Then we also
what is better than that? Well, on equal part with that, should I say?
I mean, equal part, yeah.
No favourites here.
We've got a small Netflix one.
A small Netflix one. Come on, tell our listeners.
Yeah, it's called Train Dreams, and
Train Dreams.
We're talking to Clint Bentley, director, and some actors you may have heard of: Felicity Jones, Kerry Condon, and Joel Edgerton.
Felicity Jones, Kerry Condon.
Yeah.
And Joel Edgerton. Wow.
Pretty outrageous, right?
Pretty outrageous. How long did you how were they?
We had a lot of time. Yeah, thanks, Will. Thanks for Will from Organic.
Yeah, thank you, Will. And they were lovely, right?
Yeah. They were lovely. Yeah, no, we had it's an hour.
It's an hour. And it's videoed.
30 with the director and 15 each with the actors. So,
I love it.
It's a very like auteur filmmakers film as well, so it's really, really good one to study.
Oh, brilliant. And we've got some other amazing guests coming up. Should we announce them now? Why not? We haven't recorded them, so these all could go wrong, but
I mean, let's save one of them. Let's save one of them. Let's save one of them. Okay. I mean, that could be a surprise, because it's actually going to be next week's episode. So next week's episode is a surprise. So you have to wait for that one.
Yes.
But we've also got the fabulous director and Oscar documentary winner of the latest Dustin Hoffman and Leo Woodall award season film, Tuna.
Yeah, Tuna.
So when we had an absolutely fantastic chat, and we really go into mindset and all kinds of it's a really good film. It's like very good on audio mixing, and I mean it's a great film. It's a really good study.
And nothing to do with fish.
No, not the kind of tuna. Although everyone thinks that when they first hear it, including me.
So it's about a talented piano tuner.
Yes.
Yeah. How exciting! That's Daniel Roher.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Daniel.
Exciting. All right. Thank you for listening. If you have liked this, just do us a favor. Go on your podcast of choice and subscribe. You've got to do that. And give us a like. Give us a nice rating. Honestly, it really helps. Really does. Thank you. Oh, Food for Thought is screening as well at the moment. My documentary all over the place, all around the world. So you'll see it on my socials. Follow me there at Giles Alderson or the Filmmakers Podcast at the Filmmakers Podcast. And please do support and follow and subscribe and do all the good things, because we do this because we love to do this to help you grow as filmmakers. So if you can support us in any little way, which could just include subscribing and liking and sharing our
mostly the liking
tweets,
and the sharing, yeah,
and Instagram and stuff, please do. And do subscribe on YouTube as well, the Filmmakers Podcast.
We do this for free, so
exactly.
There's a huge amount of effort to get the level of guests that we're doing, and also just to keep it going for anyone, whether that's indie guests or award season or anything. It's a massive undertaking to keep this going, and it is a resource that I'm sure many of you have used for great use at some point in your careers. So
because of that, just at least subscribe. YouTube now, which is where you can watch us on this video.
Yeah, don't just hover over it. Just give it a little like.
Why not write a comment? Why not write? Giles and Dom are really, really good looking blokes.
Fun guys.
Well, all right, fun guys then.
Just all like the mushrooms I saw when I was out on a walk today.
Giles and Dom, thumbs up. That'll do. Mushroom emoji is an option.
Yeah.
It's your choice. There we go. Right, Last Frontier is out now on Apple TV Plus. I'm going to warm my cockles over this roaring fire I've got in Bulgaria right now.
You swine. Have you got a fryer?
I've got a fryer, an air fryer.
A fire. No, a fire.
Oh, I thought you said a fryer.
Well, I sort of probably did say. God knows.
I know, but my cockles are getting warm now, thinking about it.
I do love a good fire. Yeah.
I do love a good cockle. Right, until next Tuesday, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dom.
Thanks, Giles.
Take care. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.